I live in the Bay of Quinte region, and the indigenous peoples when the first Europeans arrived were the Mississauga, also known as the Ojibwe. Loyalist College has recognized the territory originally belonged to the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee people. Since arriving in Canada in 2021 as an international student, I'm only beginning to explore the very deep history of Canada's earliest peoples. The Huron-Wendat, for example, were an Iroquoian-speaking people who settled thousands of years ago along the St. Lawrence River region and the Great Lakes. Some historical accounts I've read attribute the Huron name as first introduced by the earliest Canadian explorers from France. According to the Canadian Encyclopedia, the Wendat name means island dwellers, who were French allies who were economically linked through the burgeoning fur trade. Their numbers declined in the mid-1600s through epidemic illness and a series of violent wars with the Haudenosaunee, who dispatched the Wendat from various lands in Ontario and forced them to lands they now occupy in Quebec. The Wendat descendants have formed a nation of more than 4,000 registered people in Wendat, Quebec. Other Wendat peoples migrated south of the Great Lakes to establish new homes in the United States. The Huron-Wendat lived a life supported by some agriculture, complemented by hunting and fishing. In addition to game from the forest, the nation's people lived on foods such as squash and corn, which they grew in small villages built near watercourses. With the Huron-Wendat displaced along the northern shore of Lake Ontario, the Haudenosaunee lived in the region, but according to European accounts, they abandoned their settlement, leaving a vacuum that was soon filled by the Anishinaabe across southern Ontario. Tracing the ebb and flow of Canada's First Nations is difficult in Quinte, given the lack of any official monuments to commemorate the past. However, given the large presence of the Bay of Quinte Mohawks at Tyendinaga Mohawk territory east of Belleville, it is clear that the indigenous people have continued to call Bay of Quinte home. Loyal to the British Crown during the American Revolution, the Mohawks were forced to flee their ancestral lands in the Mohawk Valley, in what is now known as upstate New York. When the war ended with the signing of the 1783 Treaty of Paris, the British ceded the Mohawk lands to American rebels who suddenly found themselves homeless. The British Crown, however, offered to compensate the loyal Mohawks who accepted in Upper Canada a tract of land, which today is known as Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory. According to the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, their ancestors' canoes landed on the Bay of Quinte on May 22, 1784. As many as 20 families with more than 100 people arrived on the shores of what is now known as Adolphustown, where the anniversary is celebrated every year by a reenactment led by Chief R. Donald Miracle. Today, Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory is a vibrant community of more than 8,000 members across 18,000 acres of land.